And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 SME Champion Awards. Tonight, we recognize the vital contributions of SMEs to India's economy. SMEs represent 95% of industrial units, provide employment of over 110 million Indians, and significantly drive our GDP. The SME Champion Awards marks the culmination of a 9-month journey focused on celebrating and advancing the success of SMEs. From empowering entrepreneurs through targeted knowledge sessions to tonight's grand celebration, we honor the remarkable achievements that contribute to India's economic strength. This evening, we will recognize outstanding small and medium enterprises across several categories, including community engagement, digital transformation, and sustainability practices, among others. Each of these awards highlights the exceptional performance and impact of these enterprises. And now let's take a moment to look back at our 9-month-long journey and acknowledge the esteemed jury who played a crucial role in selecting tonight's winners.
Contributing up to 30% to India's GDP, 45% to India's total exports, 95% of industrial units. The SMEs are the core behind India's growth. CNBC-TV18 and HSBC came together to honor these champions. Over 8 months, 1,700 plus nominations received. 3-step screening process deployed by EY, our process advisors. 37 finalists presented before the most sought-after grand jury. And now it's time to crown the winners. Today at HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 SME Champion Awards, where excellence meets recognition.
Thank you to our esteemed jury members for their dedication and insightful valuations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Shireen back on stage to commence the celebration with a welcome address. A huge round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a magical start we've had to the SME Awards. Once again, my gratitude to each one of you for joining us here this evening. And, as Shruti was pointing out, this journey also reminds me of what Henry Ford said. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. So tonight, we celebrate success and we ignite more success. So ladies and gentlemen, and our jury, as well as our guests of honor today, the DPIIT Secretary, as well as the Secretary from METI, Mr. Krishnan, many, many thanks for joining us here at the SME Champion Awards. Today, we will honor the visionaries behind India's thriving SME sector. Each of the awards tonight recognizes the achievements of outstanding SMEs and the individuals that are leading them, the pioneers who are pushing boundaries, disrupting industries, and redefining the future of Indian commerce. We celebrate the powerhouses that are shaping India's tomorrow. With the recent budget announcements, these awards hold even greater significance. The budget has proposed a credit guarantee scheme that will work on the pooling of credit risks of MSMEs to facilitate term loans for the purchase of machinery and equipment. Further, it will also provide relief to MSMEs during stress periods. Credit availability will be supported through a guarantee from a government-promoted fund. And this sends out a powerful message that we stand united in empowering the very engines of our economic growth, the remarkable champions that we celebrate here this evening. As Shruti said, the MSME sector, with its 63 million enterprises, contributes approximately 30% to India's GDP, 45% to the manufacturing output, and 40% to the country's exports. This sector has generated over 110 million jobs, showcasing its pivotal role in employment creation, embracing digital transformation. 72% of MSME payments are now conducted online, and 43% of the MSMEs are engaged in e-commerce, highlighting their adaptability and efficiency. Additionally, the recent budget has emphasized infrastructure development for MSMEs with a capital expenditure allocation of 20,000 crores aimed at creating industrial clusters, tech parks, and common facility centers. Now, all of this will enhance operational efficiency and hopefully provide more impetus to competitiveness. So tonight, as we honor these leaders who drive the spirit of innovation and excellence, My deepest gratitude once again to the esteemed jury members who are here with us this evening, and you will see them shortly joining us here on stage. The former chairman of State Bank of India, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, thank you very much for being the jury chair. Mr. Kumar, thank you. We truly appreciate you being here today. Our other distinguished jury panel members, Dinesh Kanabar, the CEO of Dhruva Advisors, Chandrakant Salunke, the founder and president at SME Chamber of India, Raghav Chanda, the former secretary, Government of India, and the author and founder of Consult, Atul Lal, the vice chairman and managing director at Dixon Technologies, Girish Luthra, the chairman of Luthra Group, Ashok Sehgal, the managing director of Frontier Technologies, Preeti Bajaj, the CEO and MD of Luminous Power Technologies, Shraddha Suri, the CMD of Subros and the president of ACMA, and Anju Srivastava, the founder and CEO of Bing Greens Farms. This jury has been put together to tell you very clearly that this is a very rigorous and meticulous award. This is an award that's been driven by due diligence, and it is an award that ensures that we follow the highest standards of awarding truly the very best. So once again, thank you very much for your unwavering support and your commitment. A heartfelt thank you from the entire team at CNBC TV18. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of the evening. Now we promise to get things going with a lot of conversation. As Aristotle said, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. Tonight, we celebrate all of that and more. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. A big round of applause to each and every one of you.
Thank you, Shireen, for setting the tone tonight. May I now please invite Mr. Hitendra Dave, the CEO of HSBC India, for the opening address. A huge round of applause for Mr. Hitendra Dave.
Thank you. I hope you understand my plight, right? I'm coming after Usha ji and after Shireen. And I've already made a fool of myself by attempting to sing along with her. But thank you all. Thank you to the jury in particular for making this a real serious effort, right? And I think when we were discussing about our partnership on this particular SME Champions Awards, I think the one question a lot of us had, is it serious? Or is it just one more commercial, just to get our brand out there, etc. And we were reassured multiple number of times. And I think it's with the jury like this, that time we didn't know who the jury was. So I think so thank you to the jury once again. I think we are very proud of this partnership. Maybe I'll just try and contextualize a little bit for HSBC. Usha ji was very kind enough to mention that our relationship with her goes back as long as it goes back. But what are the issues on which we are publicly getting associated, right? So, and I just want to put some context. So, for example, I think those who came in early would have seen some video of HSBC's partnership, once again with CNBC TV18 on the issue of diversity and inclusiveness. And we are doing that because we want to be the most prominent employer for people with people who, we want to play a significant role in that socially desirable direction, right? So that's the context there, that potential employees out there, potential customers out there, society members out there see HSBC as standing for the right cause. The second one we have picked up is our partnership with Athletics Federation of India, especially for women who are getting trained. Many of them will have gone off to Olympics now, and if they do win, we are ready to highlight their wins once across. So, but that is to show our emotional connection to the country, right? Because we are not as big a bank as some of the other local banks, but we want the society here to know that we are deeply engaged, and the secretaries are here from the Government of India, and they can, how much we work with them to and with their departments. But this one, SME Awards, I just want to share that when the first board meeting of HSBC took place in 1865 or some year like that, the minutes of the meeting said, we are being formed to help entrepreneurs. Okay, and that's why this association was a logical connection for us. And obviously, given fact that we're a global bank, we bank entrepreneurs, not just do business in the country that they are, but procure from around the world and sell around the world and grow and mushroom around the world. So that's why this association means a lot to us, because it is at the core of what HSBC was set up for. And I think I would say there's a lot of things which were already on the screen, what percentage of GDP, what percentage of exports, how many people employed, etc., etc. But I think an underappreciated aspect, and many of them are here, right? The winners as well as the participants. I think what true entrepreneurship is what really distinguishes some countries from the other, right? And true entrepreneurship does not take place in HSBC or State Bank or whatever. It takes place when you start your business, when you're 3 years old, 3 months old, first 5, 10 years or so. And we want to back entrepreneurship here, and we want to recognize entrepreneurs here. And this is, when I think the tagline was when excellence meets recognition. And this is our way to say, listen, you guys, the country depends on SMEs in a much, much bigger way than perhaps we sometimes acknowledge, right? And how difficult it is to do small and micro business, I think we can only try and think, but the ones who have gone through that will tell you how difficult it was, out of school, out of college, out of, whatever. So that's really one thing that we really want to back entrepreneurship, and we are very happy that these awards will help, and this visibility will encourage younger people. And the government is very keen. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister himself keeps encouraging people to be entrepreneurs, wealth creators, employment creators. So we hope to play our little role in that journey. I think the other thing from an HSBC perspective I might like to mention to people who are entrepreneurs here, budding businesses, running small and medium businesses, banks like us, but I'll only talk about us obviously, can really, really help shape the next 5-10 years of a business by helping you go around the world, by sharing best practices, whether it's employment, whether it's sales, whether it's governance and things of that nature. So it's a logical journey for us. But I'll just sort of end by just thanking everyone, about 1,700 odd SMEs who chose to participate, and we went out there trying to encourage people to participate, and finally the winners here. You are rightly should be very proud of yourself for being the best of the best of the best, as they say in the American movies. So congratulations, and let's move on to the next part of the awards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dave, for your insightful remarks. I would now like to welcome Mr. Rajesh Kumar Singh, Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, S. Krishnan, the Secretary Meeti, and Shireen Bhan for an insightful chat. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for our panelists here.
Well, this is budget week, so these gentlemen have also not got any time off, and we truly appreciate the fact that you're here with us this evening to talk to us about the road ahead for India's SME sector and the efforts that the government is making to try and ensure that we nurture the MSME space. DPIIT Secretary, let me start by talking to you. One of the aspects of the PLI scheme is to, of course, create national champions, but it's also to then create SME ecosystem in a much more robust fashion so that they can service the needs of these so-called national champions. In light of the 14 PLI schemes that are already in various stages of progress, what has been the involvement? What has been the SME participation? How has it helped nurture the SME ecosystem in the country? And what more do you believe can happen by way of this participation?
Thank you, Shireen. So let me start by giving you the overall sort of picture of where we are on the PLI schemes. I think in many of the sectors, probably the majority of the sectors, it's done really well. There's a runaway success in areas like electronics, also in food processing, bulk drugs, pharmaceuticals. There is considerable progress. I think the big figures are that we've achieved almost 11 lakh crores in sales, almost 1.3 lakh crores in fresh greenfield investments, almost 4 lakh crores of exports, over 8.5 lakh numbers of employment, mainly because the really fast-moving sectors have made up for some of the lagging sectors. In terms of whether that has also benefited a wider ecosystem of vendors, many of whom would naturally come from the MSME sector. Now, I mean, that is one of the areas where perhaps we could have done more. I think in some sectors like white goods, which is directly under DPIIT, we consciously decided that the PLI scheme would do only components. So for air conditioning and lighting products, we've actually done only the components, and naturally most of that business has gone to both some OEMs, but also who want to vertically integrate, but also quite a lot of MSMEs. In automobiles, for example, there is a separate components portion. In mobiles, I think they are thinking about, bringing in a component scheme so as to sort of widen the vendor base and expand it beyond the OEMs. So yeah, I mean, that's an area where maybe we could have done more. In food processing, I think most of the applicants are from the MSME sector. So yeah, it's something where perhaps we need to look at that stage when the PLI scheme was first created, the focus was on creating global and national champions. But over time, particularly from the point of view of Atmanirbharta, of localization and greater domestic value addition, there is also a recognition that perhaps we need to also widen the base, and for that purpose, we need to sort of focus also on the components and the vendors and sub-vendors as well.
I'll come back to you, sir, on what you believe needs to be done now in light of the lessons learned. But Mr. Krishnan, since as DPIT Secretary pointed out, it's been the mobile story that has been the big success story as far as the PLI scheme is concerned, and now the components ecosystem that you're hoping to bring into India, to develop in India, to achieve the kind of scale and competitiveness that we seek, so that we see more and more success stories emerge. What is the role that you believe that the Indian SME can play in order for us to build out that ecosystem, whether by themselves or in partnership with foreign companies as well?
The big story on electronics really is that a lot of the manufacture, especially of components, is done by MSMEs. A large number of SMEs are engaged in that area. And as we expand scale, they have huge opportunities of being component suppliers to large players. And those opportunities have opened up for a number of SMEs in India, and they have benefited from being part of the supply chain. Now, the rest of electronics manufacture, other than mobiles, again, there's a large chunk of SMEs which are involved. In the IT hardware segment, which is the other PLI we are running, of the 27 applicants, quite a number are SMEs already and looking to scale up. And given the present limits, they go up to 250 crores in terms of turnover and 50 crores in terms of capital investment. And the capital investment needed under the PLI scheme, and there is a subcomponent even in the mobile PLI scheme for Indian companies and for component makers, which is largely dominated by SMEs, and many of them are doing well in that segment as well. But those probably all taken together will be about 30, 40, 50 SMEs. But then the rest of the value chain and their participation throughout that process is huge. And we should not forget that the digital economy also includes the IT, ICT sector, where again there are a large number of SMEs, and today SME categorization includes, in addition to the manufacturing units, the service sector units also. So that way the participation in the digital economy, or in the portion of the economy which falls under the overall purview of MeitY as a ministry, the number of SMEs are large, and practically every startup also starts off as an SME, so they come under this purview. And in addition to whatever other programs that DPIIT and other ministries in the Government of India are running, MeitY itself runs about 3 or 4 programs to support startups with a fair degree of success.
So you talked about what more needs to be done, or what more could have been done when you were designing the PLI schemes to encourage further participation of MSMEs. Any sectors in specific within the existing PLI schemes where you believe that tweaks could be made to encourage their participation?
I'm not sure in the existing schemes. The design is kind of hardwired in many ways, so I'm not sure. There is some flexibility being planned in terms of additional product lines and HSN codes being added, or some extension of timelines. But the design is pretty, it's kind of cast in stone in terms of the original approvals. But nonetheless, as I said, there are many of these schemes. I mentioned auto components, food processing, white goods. Many of these actually already have prioritize MSMEs quite a bit already.
In terms of feedback, and you interact with industry, and I'll get Mr. Krishnan to respond to that as well. We've seen the budget announce some measures with respect to providing additional support and some relief to the MSME space. What is the biggest pain point at this point, when you hear from MSMEs outside of access to credit, outside of regulatory support? What is it that they tell you in terms of the ease of doing business? Because that is something that the DPIIT is working on. What did they tell you about compliance burden? I mean, when the GST rolled out, for instance, this was a big challenge that SMEs were faced with. So, what is the pain point that remains unaddressed that you believe the government now needs to focus on?
So, as you mentioned, the foremost pain point has always been access to credit, not for the people here in the room who are all quite successful, I'm sure, and must be having good banking support as well. But for the vast majority of MSMEs, there is this problem of credit. And for that, as you mentioned, the budget has announced a series of schemes. The emergency credit line guarantee scheme during COVID was, of course, a great help. Now there are several additional schemes, which hopefully will, ensure that this constraint is largely addressed. In terms of other ease of doing business issues, I would say that ease of doing business is a very localized, very state-specific phenomena. It varies a lot from state to state. It could be, which is why, many investors, in a sense, vote with their feet, and which is why Krishnan's state, Tamil Nadu, gets a large share of both domestic and foreign investment, because they've done more in that area than others. If you want me to categorize what are those pain points, I would say, in addition to access to credit, generally the complaints have been about availability and access to ready-made land in terms of plug-and-play infrastructure. Pain points have been, in some cases, in relation to getting things like environmental clearances. And in general, you would find that in the ease of doing business rankings that India had, the lowest marks we had were in two areas. One was contract compliances, which is linked to our overall judicial delays and how we can sort of make that faster, which would, of course, involve judicial reforms, as well as a huge increase in our judicial bench strength. But in the other areas, like environmental clearances, one of the things we've tried to do increasingly, and that is also addressed in the budget this time, is that we are trying to set up as many as possible new industrial cities of a very large scale. Dholera is one example. 12 more have been announced in the budget. The unique thing about all of those are that they will have complete environmental clearance available, right up front. So, those are the kind of steps you need to take on that constraint. And on the land constraint that I mentioned, again, in the budget, there are specific incentives for state governments who go for digitization of land, computerization, better services in the registration and survey departments for entrepreneurs and, in fact, for citizens as a whole. So, yes, I think those are the pain points which we really need to probably address in the medium term.
Mr. Krishnan, just to take that point forward, and yes, the budget has announced these industrial parks and so on and so forth, and what we have seen as a success factor in the auto ancillary story, for instance, is the network effect, where you have seen SMEs based out of a particular hub and the emergence of a cluster. Do you believe that a cluster-like approach continues to be the need of the hour and at scale?
Absolutely. I think, as Rajesh was pointing out, the kind of issues that they face requires a cluster, and especially if you're talking about SMEs, they develop around the cluster. Typically, an industrial park that you would take, even in a state like Tamil Nadu, the number of big anchor industries would be a handful, but most of the units would actually be SMEs, which then supply to these anchor industries and other SMEs also. So if you take, say, Sri Perumbudur, which is a cluster both for auto ancillaries and auto components and for electronics, most of the industries and most of the units there are actually SMEs, which then supply into these major industries which are located there. So clustering and the cluster effect is very important. And I think the other thing that we need to do increasingly is, in addition to developing new land and new spaces, many of the industries which are located in clusters still face some ease of doing business issues, still face warehousing issues and so on. So we really need also brownfield-based schemes which ensure that these gaps in infrastructure are covered, and in some senses, some of the gaps in regulation are also covered. For instance, if you could look at, especially for export-oriented industries and so on, you need some amount of flexibility in terms of how bonded warehouses are used, how they move from one location to another, which is something that the electronics industries often tell us, that they have issues regarding movement from one premises to another,
Right.
or if there are a large number of components which need to be brought together and assembled, then they need some amount of accommodation in the way that is handled. So these kind of ease of doing business elements can be addressed on a cluster basis, and the clusters could either be greenfield clusters, which will take a while to develop and to be established, or can be done even in brownfield clusters with a kind of innovative approach where the investment levels may not be as high, but the impact of doing ease of doing business reforms can be quite large.
Let me end by asking both of you, because job creation clearly is the thrust as far as the budget is concerned and part of the government's priority list as well. DPIIT Secretary, the expectation was that there would be more PLI schemes, at least as far as labor-intensive sectors go, but that has not been the case. The government has decided that it wants to focus and consolidate the ones that currently exist. So for labor-intensive sectors, especially where the involvement of the SME sector is significant, what kind of hand-holding, what kind of support can be provided?
So the PLI schemes, the 14 that are ongoing, some of them are actually still in their gestation period. The investments have not started. So it is quite natural for the government to take the view that let's get all of these on track first. Some have, of course, taken off. I would say the majority have taken off. There are a minority which are still in their initial stage. So it's obviously better to sort of get all of them on track, moving ahead, making significant progress, including financial progress in terms of disbursements, before we start moving on to new schemes. That said, we do have proposals for labor-intensive sectors like toys, leather, footwear, etc., which are still pending consideration. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility that some of them could still get rolled out. Within this year? I wouldn't know. I mean, that is really, because it's at the highest levels in government, there's no timeline. But sure. I wouldn't rule it out. But as you mentioned, in the budget, the government felt that there is a real need to sort of reprioritize and put a lot of focus on employment-linked incentive scheme to really nudge industry, private industry, on a voluntary basis to start doing much more of hirings, regular formal hirings. Yeah. And for that, certain incentives are being provided through a combination of contribution for EPF, for initial salary support, through the stipend support for the internships, along with a lot of skilling programs. So we hope that the private sector takes that sort of nudge seriously. I think Government of India has invested heavily in infrastructure. We've really enhanced our public capital formation significantly, in the hope that the crowding in of private investment happens. And we are similarly hoping that the private sector is also going to sort of come forward in terms of fresh hirings as well.
Mr. Krishnan?
I think most of what needs to be said about employment has been said. And the approach can come from both angles, right? I mean, if I was in the electronics sector and all of these incentive schemes existed in terms of what can be done to support employment in the sector, it's a huge opportunity to actually access them. And it's a substantial concession, which is directly linked to the number of jobs that we create in that segment. So I think it is sector agnostic, but very, very supportive of establishment of new industry or establishment of new units, creating additional employment. And there again, with internships and so on, you're creating and you're solving one huge problem with regard to skilling, because you are actually providing industry-ready manpower, which is something that many of them require. and you are addressing that issue. And for the period that they are working, the government is supporting their wage structure and their stipends so that for the industry, it is not all that much of a burden.
Well, let me end by asking the two of you, the tagline now, courtesy Usha Uttam, strong, sturdy and consistent. DPIT Secretary, I'll start by asking you, with the bureaucrats don't very often get, get sort of the bouquets being sent to them. It's a lot of the brickbats that come your way. But through the course of your career, what is it that has driven you to get to work every day and continue to do what you do? Is there a song that sums up your work-life philosophy?
No, I can't think of a song, frankly, but you'll be surprised. We do get a lot of bouquets as well as occasional brickbats, and usually we get more bouquets than brickbats. The latest set of bouquets came from my very own startup ecosystem.
Yes.
After we managed to get
absolutely, with the abolition of the angel tax, I'm sure you got many bouquets.
Yeah. So they're really thrilled about it, let me say. And yeah, I mean, as I said, we do get more bouquets than brickbats, which may surprise you.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear, sir. That is good to hear. Mr. Krishnan, so what keeps you going? What drives you?
I think what keeps me going is one thing that she certainly said, Mr. Uttam said earlier about, communicating with people. And I think the charm of being a civil servant is really that you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet people from, from a village, the poorest person, and we start our careers by calling on the president at some point, so all the way to the top. So you meet everybody, and you meet a very wide cross-section of people. That keeps you going in terms of what you can do to address their issues. And for me personally, I like having problems to solve and issues to resolve, so that keeps me going.
Well, hope you continue to solve the big problems that perhaps are on your plate today. And we hope that many of the issues that you spoke of in terms of the work in progress as well as the unfinished reform agenda specifically to address India's MSME aspirations are taken forward. DPIT Secretary and Mr. Krishnan, Secretary of METI, many, many thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. I would request you to stay on and honor the MSMEs that will soon come up on stage.
Absolutely, Shireen. Request you all to kindly remain on stage with us. I'd also like to invite Mr. Hitendra Dave, the CEO of HSBC India, back on stage to join us for the awards. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed with the awards ceremony and honor the exceptional contributions of our SME champions. Let's begin with our first category, Excellence in Community Engagement for Medium Enterprises. Now, this category recognizes SMEs who go beyond business operations to positively impact their local communities, fostering development, social well-being, and sustainable partnerships. And now let's have a look at our outstanding nominees.
City Glide Travel Solutions, Jamshedpur Chlorochem, Rural Shores Business.
Our first nominee is City Glide Travel Solutions, boasting a 36% revenue jump and impressive entrepreneurial initiatives like Wings Sakhi and Wings Rainbow. City Glide empowers women, the LGBTQ+ community, and youth, reducing crime rates through positive avenues. Our second nominee is India's leading manufacturer of low extra, low carbon ferrochrome Jamshedpur Chlorochem, which has doubled its revenues while actively engaging communities through environmental conservation, education, and health programs. Rural Shores Business Services, our third nominee, has empowered rural communities through ITES training, child nutrition programs, health camps, and environmental projects. Can we have the winner envelope, please?
Private Limited.
I now invite Colonel Ravi Gupta, the CEO of Rural Shores Business, to please come on stage to receive the award. Many congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. Now we move on to our second category, Excellence in Community Engagement for Small Enterprises. And the nominees for this category are
संघ शिक्षा एवं समाज कल्याण समिति, VSS Tech Solutions Jeevita.
Our first nominee in this category is Sangha Shiksha Evam Samaj Kalyan Samiti, established in 2003, offers free quality education and facilities for visually impaired children, blending modern knowledge with ancient values and achieving 26 to 35% revenue growth with under 50 employees. And the second nominee, VSS Tech Solution Jeevita, uses artificial intelligence and voice technology to empower vulnerable communities, driving social and financial inclusion with a steady 36% revenue growth over the past 2 years. Can we have the envelope, please?
Small enterprises, excellence in community engagement. The award goes to VSS Tech Solutions Private Limited.
I would like to invite the co-founders of VSS Tech Solution Jeevita, Mr. Munish Chawla and Mr. Vikas Jain, to come on stage to receive their award. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going. Congratulations. Many congratulations, team.
Thank you.
It's time to honor the champions of digital innovation with the award for excellence in digital transformation for small enterprises. This category celebrates SMEs that have harnessed digital technology to revolutionize their operations, boosting efficiency and competitiveness. Here are our nominees.
NFU Labs, IoTech World Aviation, Upstander Technologies.
Our first nominee in this category is Inefu Labs. It pioneers artificial intelligence-driven predictive intelligence and cybersecurity solutions, delivering crucial biometric and facial recognition software to combat cybercrime and terrorism. Our second nominee, IoTech World Aviation, has revolutionized agriculture with advanced drones, democratizing drone technology for small farmers and enhancing agricultural productivity. Our third nominee, Upstander Technologies, manufactures cutting-edge medical devices and telemedicine platforms, enabling remote monitoring and early diagnosis to address critical healthcare challenges in underserved areas. And the winner is?
For the category of small enterprises, for excellence in digital transformation, the winner is IoTech World Aviation Private Limited.
I'd like to invite Mr. Deepak Bhardwaj, Director and Co-founder of IoTech World Navigation, to come on stage to receive the award. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Singh, Mr. Krishnan and Mr. Dave for doing the honors. I'd like to request Shireen to kindly remain on stage. And now, before we proceed with the award ceremony, I'd like to invite Mr. T. Koshi, the Managing Director of ONDC, and Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, former Chairperson, SBI, for a special conversation. Over to you, Shireen.
Thank you very much, Shruti. We're just going to wait for the chairs to be brought out. Please, sir. Mr. Koshi, please join us on stage, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our first set of winners has been awarded. So a big round of applause to all the winners, and keep the excitement going because we have plenty more that's coming up. But it is our honor to welcome here on stage the chairman of the SME Champions jury, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, the former chairman of State Bank of India, India's largest bank, as well as Mr. Koshi of ONDC. Sir, let me start by asking you, and now perhaps you can be a little more free in your answers. What is the pain point for India's SMEs, and is the banking sector adequately being able to address that?
So the most common complaint, and we heard the speakers earlier also, is availability of credit. But let me tell you that because of certain developments which have happened, particularly I would say GST, the digitization, there is more information available on the basis of which the loans can be underwritten and given by the banks. The unfortunate part still remains the attitude about giving credit to the SMEs because the vulnerability is high.
So it's the fear of a possible delinquency.
Yeah. So cash flow based lending, I think it is working well. And I chair the board of BharatPe also. And the way the FinTechs in this country, they have developed their systems for credit inclusion, it is remarkable. Banks have not been able to do it, that's why we survive. But I think in this budget there is an announcement that banks will be developing this capability. Let us see when will they develop this capability. But FinTechs, NBFCs, they have done a lot of work. And the approach still remains security oriented. So if I am an SME, and I'm very frank, because you said you can be frank, now I'm not wearing the hat of chairman of the State Bank of India. But if you want to start an enterprise and go to the bank for a term loan, I doubt you will get it so easily. And that is the pain point. But if you have an established track record of a few years, if your cash flow, your income tax return, your GST, if that data is available, then for at least working capital, I don't see that that is as much a pain point.
So how do we address this problem? I mean, some schemes have already been put in place, new schemes have been announced as well, but how do you believe we can address this problem? I mean, beyond the mindset change which is required, and to be fair, banks also need to ensure that guardrails are in place because they don't want to end up with an NPA problem as well. But what do you believe can be done? What could be a pragmatic approach to this?
So one is that where the government supports by way of giving credit guarantee, but that's not the best way, in my view. The best way is that banks should have capability to underwrite the risk. And sometimes banks also get conflicting signals. So I don't know whether FinTechs or NBFC or banks are very sure that what the regulatory stance is.
Okay.
And whether we want to encourage entrepreneurship and risk-taking capability of the banks, or the banks who had horrible time in addressing the NPAs, then the natural approach or tendency would be let us not get into the same situation again. But I think most of the banks, and particularly the public sector banks, there is a given level of NPAs or tolerance limit in SMEs, and it is not 1%, 2%, it is higher. And we have to live with that situation till such time we are able to assess the risk, we are able to underwrite the risk, and we are able to adequately price the risk. But SME credit or availability of credit, it's a very old issue. It is, I would say, 50-year-old issue. We have had, I don't know, I've lost count how many committees we had for the SME credit. But even
so is there any hope then of being able to fix this problem? Because as you said, there's been committee after committee, and yet we're talking about this continuing to be the big pain point.
So the hope is all around that the bankers, they develop the capability to underwrite the risk based on cash flow and their ability to capture the cash flow. And when Reserve Bank of India, I think 3 or 4 years ago, they came out with the guideline that if you have a loan, you must have an account with that bank. Ability to capture the cash flow, that is required. Because there are like, one is in the credit, it is the intent part. And the other is ability to generate the positive cash flow to service your loan. So what is the bank's function? One is that to assess the credit worthiness, where the intent is being addressed. The second is all about assessing the capability of an enterprise to generate the cash flows, and those cash flows have to be sufficient to service the loan. And the third point I would like to make is that there is a lot of talk only about credit.
Yeah.
What about equity? When the SMEs, they need lot of risk capital by way of equity, venture capital, and I think in the last budget there was fund of funds, which was to be made operational by SIDBI. So we don't hear much about it. But apart from credit, what is also important is that we pay this attention to that how do we support by way of equity. Entrepreneurs sometimes, or many times, most of the times, they don't have the kind of equity funds which bank would ask. What is your margin? 25%, 20%. And the entrepreneur may not have that kind of. So we need to, I think, focus also as much on credit availability from the financial system.
Also equity.
And all the equity.
Yeah. Mr. Koshi, let's address the issue that ONDC is trying to deal with, which is really democratizing digital commerce, and that is a big opportunity and potential headroom for growth for the SME sector in India. Now, take me through what ONDC is hoping to do, what the aspiration is, and, you know, it's a short period of time since you actually rolled out. What has been the experience so far on being able to address this community?
Thank you. I mean, you have actually given me the mic and asked me to talk about something that is very close to my heart. So I'll anyway try to control my tongue.
Please don't. If Usha Uttam has taught us one thing, it is be who you are, say what you want to say.
No, I'm saying I may take too much of time.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. As you very correctly pointed out, our primary objective is democratization. What does it mean? It means everybody get equal opportunity to play in the digital market. You'll say, what is so great about it?
Yeah.
While we are all heavy users of e-commerce, digital commerce in this room, but if you really go and see the penetration, its penetration is really small. It's less than 10% on the buy side, and the sell side, active digital commerce participation. Instead of, if you don't count calling on the phone on a WhatsApp message,
Fair enough.
it's really less than in single digits. So when that is a situation, we want to have a large number of equitable participation. So that is what the whole objective of ONDC is about. So if you're a small enterprise, you should have an equal opportunity. If you're a large enterprise, you should have an equal opportunity to prove based on your capability, quality, solution, smartness, and branding. And not just by deep pockets that you have.
So you want to level the playing field with ONDC. Now, what has been the experience so far?
Okay, see, like I said, it's an inclusive agenda, big and the small. Big guys can come by themselves, small guys need a lot of hand-holding. So if I just tell you, it's a very new idea. Last year, this time, we were doing about 1 million transactions plus a month. This month, we'll be doing about 11.5 million transactions. And I hope that by end of the year, it will reach 40 to 50 million transactions a month. And the beauty is, more than 55% of the transactions comes from small enterprises.
Even though you have the big guys on
That's true. And about 65% of the transactions come from small towns because it is giving opportunity. In fact, today morning I was in an SME forum again where about 4 or 5 MSMEs who have actually joined the network were actually endorsing how it has made a big difference. So what is ONDC trying to do? 3 things. Access to market. So they are able to expand and expose themselves to a larger market. Access to credit, he just explained. Here again what happens is when you have more and more digital transaction, flow-based lending can take a lot more power in the hand of the banker and in the terms of the small and medium enterprises. And also, it also provides access to skills. So these 3 things together can make a humongous difference. And also, just let me highlight 2 more things. As you democratize, in addition to democratization, the way we achieve is unbundling and interoperability. What do you mean by unbundling? Building blocks of commerce being unbundled. I'll give you one very, very demonstrated case study. You know that one of the, I'm just taking one example.
Sure.
You know that one of the domains in the ONDC sector is food and grocery.
Yes.
Why I took them is they are very hyper-local. One of the challenge of the small businesses is that they're individual, most of them are small, some of them are pretty large. They are good at what they're doing. A restaurant knows how to make a good. But if you want to, one is you want to get a market, and you want to reach to that client might far away. Does he always have the chotu with him? May not. But being small, he can never get the most competitive logistics option. That's one challenge. I'm just giving you one example of real. In the last few months, we said logistics as a service should be available. And we talked to the logistics provider and said that if a restaurateur want to deliver food to your house, if the chotu is not there, very often may not be there, he should be able to buy it as a service at the best price possible. Some of the logistics companies came and said, we are making it possible. In April, we had just 500 transactions of logistics in a day. And now it does more than 50,000 logistics transactions. It's all being done by small enterprise. Suddenly they got an order. Sometimes it came from the ONDC network, sometimes came from outside. But he has now an immediate capability. So it need not be only just few entities claiming that they can do quick commerce at a elevated cost. It is giving an opportunity to every small. I'm just giving an example. Same thing could, and similar kind of building blocks will get opened up through innovation.
And that's what I want to take forward with you in terms of the next steps and the next opportunities. You gave us an example of what logistics as a service has been able to do in order to service the needs as well as provide opportunities to those who come via ONDC or come, outside of ONDC as well. What could the next legs be of this journey?
Many, many more. So let me just start counting. One in the context.
The mic, sir.
In the context of what we just spoke, is credit. Second is sachetized insurance. For example, if imagine again a small business, somebody sending from Timbuktu to Bombay. For him, there are times accidents do happen. For him, a loss could happen. For a big platform, just replacing is very easy. It doesn't make too much of a cost. Whereas for the small business, an FPO, it's a big cost. Can we make sure that as a part of this transaction, a sachetized credit is available? Can you also, next one is that, can it also give the opportunity, the network and the pipelines to help micro investments?
Right.
Can we also empower B2B to reach a larger, cross-section of buyers and from across the country or even internationally, exports. So there are, I'll go on and on. But the point that is there, I'll tell you in one line the vision. That any product or service that is catalogable will make their presence felt in this network using this protocol. Different kind of buying applications will come and help their buyers to buy what is relevant for them because they don't go and tie up. It's already there. The most recent opening, I don't know whether you noticed that, is even media companies have come and said, we can come and help our readers and our viewers with access to many more things. So it really shows the power it gives for innovation and specialization.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a very comprehensive road ahead for ONDC. But Mr. Kumar, coming back to you now and to take forward what you said about this jugalbandi that's happening between banks and fintechs and what they can do perhaps to nurture the cause of the Indian MSME. Now that you are at Bharat Pay as well, what do you believe the potential synergies can be? What are the focus areas? What should be prioritized?
So the advantage of the fintechs is that they have also invested heavily in technology. They have developed new underwriting models. And unfortunately, I would say that because of certain regulatory requirements, where regulators felt that there has been a deficiency in this system. So that's why what I find in recent months, the regulatory stance has tightened. And nobody can grudge that because you have to play by the rules. But because I feel that the Reserve Bank of India, they can very well regulate and supervise banks. But they don't have the capability to supervise a large number.
So you're saying that FinTech needs a different regulator?
Either a different regulator or how to, the approach currently is that tighten them through the regulation of the banks, because it's ultimately a partnership in this country. The only institutions which have access to money is banks.
Yeah.
FinTech, they don't have money.
Yeah.
NBFCs, they don't have their money of own, excepting a very few NBFCs which are deposit taking, and that license doesn't come necessarily. So there is a situation where, as far as liability gathering is concerned, it is all with the banks. When it comes to giving the money, and particularly the last mile connectivity, banks have not been able to reach that last mile. So when we talk about financial inclusion, we have done very well in opening 500 million accounts.
Bank accounts,
bank accounts. But when it comes to credit inclusion, the regulators or the government, they will have to decide on that what role they want to give or assign to fintechs. There should be a trust. There should be a partnership. Banks can do everything if they can, but if NBFCs and fintechs, they are flourishing in this market, so obviously there is a gap. And we bring our strength in that. So collaboration should be there, and no way I am advocating that fintechs or NBFC, they would not play by the rule book. They have to do it. There is
but you believe that they require a different rule book?
Some leeway, because the people who the fintechs today are giving credit, I can say with surety banks will never be able to do that.
They will not be able to do that?
They will not.
So a different playbook?
80,000 rupees loan, 60,000 rupees loan, 100,000 rupees loan, and to say 1 crore people. So I have my reservation whether bank can cater to that segment, and there the role of fintechs and NBFCs come in. And again and again I am saying that they will play by the rule book, but there need to be some tolerance, and we cannot be completely risk averse. If we are completely risk averse, then the credit inclusion in this country, about which we talk a lot, it will not happen.
Okay, so for the animal spirits to be unleashed, the banks, fintechs, and NBFCs need to take some risk as well.
The risk aversion is currently on the swung to the other side of the pendulum, and which will be a good thing for the banks. They will not have NPA, but is the same thing good for the overall economy? And the risk-taking capability, how do we talk?
I guess banks have also been scarred on account of the difficult period. Exactly. And now
banks are nowadays doodh ka jala. Best is that having dealt with NPA problem, so now they don't want any more NPAs in their books.
So Mr. Koshi, let me ask you, as I asked the two secretaries as well, what keeps you going? This is a very arduous task that you have, which is to democratize digital commerce in India. What gets you to work? What gets you from that 11 million transaction per month number to the target that you've set out for yourself? What motivates you? What drives you?
See, I always believed in my career that we are in this world, we should try to make a difference, a positive difference to the world around. Not just be a taker, but also a giver. So that has been my philosophy. And what makes me going is that I believe that everything that you do, dil se karo. So now that I've taken up a very exciting, why I feel very excited about this, it's the first time in the world. Normally, whenever a project started, everybody is saying, hey, has it been done in US? Has it been done in Europe? Now, we in India can very proudly say that we are being pioneer in many fields. And this is an area where India is taking a pioneering stand as a national vision. And being a part of that is really exciting. So that's what makes it going.
Well, that's a good lesson for everyone here in the audience. Jo bhi karo, dil se karo. Rajneesh Kumar?
No, probably the same thing, but as I said, I have not retired. I have superannuated from the state bank.
You're unlikely to retire anytime soon, so I know that you continue to be deeply passionate about all that you do.
Why should anybody retire? We have the example sitting here, right before us. Usha Uthup ji, Amitabh Bachchan, Lata Mangeshkar, they all
So
are-
Rajneesh Kumar
you can
will
say
be
they
the
work.
Amitabh Bachchan of Indian banking. Well, we wish you the very best of luck, sir. And Mr. Koshi, thank you very much for detailing for us the roadmap for ONDC in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the chairman of our jury and Mr. Koshi from ONDC. Thank you very, very much for being here. But do stay on stage to honor our next set of winners.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for that insightful discussion. Request you all to continue to remain on stage. And I'd like to request Mr. Ajay Sharma, Managing Director and Head Commercial Banking HSBC India, to join us on the stage as well for the next set of awards. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next category, Excellence in Export Promotion for Medium Enterprises. Now, this award recognizes businesses that have made significant contributions on the global stage, driving our nation's growth through their outstanding export achievements. And now let's take a look at our distinguished finalists.
Real-time data services, Rotex Automation.
Our first nominee, Real-Time Data, excels in application hosting. With over 6,000 customers globally, they lead in tax and accounting software hosting in North America and have achieved a revenue growth of 16 to 25%, earning accolades like Best Outsourced Technology Provider. Our second nominee, Rotex Automation, is India's largest producer of solenoid and angle seat walls, serving clients in 81 countries and generating nearly 50% of its revenue from exports. Recognized as a two-star export house, Rotex Automation holds 19 patents and 11 global certifications, specializing in cloud computing and technology services. May we have the envelope, please? And the winner is, sir.
Real-Time Data Services Private Limited.
I would now like to invite Mrs. Sangeeta Chabra, co-founder of the company, to come on stage to receive the award. A huge round of applause for Real-Time Data. Many congratulations. The next category is Excellence in Export Promotion Award for Small Enterprises. And the nominees are
Asian Consulting Engineers, Noble Castcom, Oilmax Systems.
our first nominee, Asian Consulting Engineers, boasts over 20 years of experience and expertise in water and environmental consulting, providing sustainable solutions and exporting their services to 21 countries. Our second nominee, Noble Castcom, is an aluminium gravity die casting manufacturer supplying parts to the US, Canada and Europe with a focus on expanding their global market. Lastly, Oilmax Systems develops innovative oil coolant conservation products, exporting eco-friendly solutions to industries worldwide. Sir, can we have the winner?
Excellence in export promotion, the award goes to Noble Cast Comp Private Limited.
I'd like to invite Mr. Akshay Bhagwat, Director Noble Castcom, to kindly come on stage to receive the award. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going. Many congratulations, Team Noblecast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great evening so far. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you, Shireen, Mr. Koshi and Mr. Kumar for doing the honors. I'd like to request Mr. Ajay Sharma to continue being on stage to share insights helping our Indian SMEs in exploring innovative financial strategies and global expansion opportunities in their success, which is Expedition to Success. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished judges, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ajay Sharma. I run the commercial bank for HSBC. The commercial bank really is one at the heart of HSBC. We deal with companies from startups all the way to some of the largest companies. Some of them, we are very proud, came to us as pure startups. We have a startup lending program of up to 20,000 crores, which is now fully used, and we are doubling that. And we're actually very proud that some of these companies are now going to do an IPO. So one of our clear objectives as a global commercial bank is to really work with companies in the country, right from the beginning of their journeys, all the way to them becoming the largest companies in the world. And having been in the country for over 160 years, as Mr. Dave said, we think we know the country very well. We are very well connected. We know the government policy. We spend a lot of time supporting Indian companies going to the next level. I'll just try and pull together what we heard from various people, so there's nothing original that I will speak about. But the role of SMEs in India is very well established. So we know that they are a third of our GDP, 45% of our exports, 110 million jobs, etc., etc. It is the core of India's economic value chain, and it's pivotal for our country's future growth. But there are challenges, and these challenges are not unique to India. As we as a global bank look across Asia, Asia Pacific, all over the world, SMEs often struggle, and the two enabling factors that help them be successful are really driven by government policy and the lack of financing. In fact, ADB just did a study, and what they said is the financing gaps that the SMEs have is over $2.5 trillion. So, and the reasons are well known, right? I think we talked about the fact that there's lack of collateral. Banks like to lend against hard collateral. And when you're starting up, very often when you talk to many of the entrepreneurs, they really put everything that they have into the company, and they don't have real estate or land or properties to pledge to you anymore. More so, I think, in a country like ours, where the growth is so significant and so large. Just a 20% growth means you double in about 4 years. You need double the amount of working capital, plus you need capital expenditure to grow. And there are challenges. And the rates of interest that these companies have to pay are often punitive, and I think majority of the funding they get is probably from the informal sector. And therefore, how do we solve for all of these issues that these companies face? I think at one level, there's a role of government, and we had representatives from the government talk about what they are doing about it. But really, for us, it's about how do we get enabling infrastructure? How do we level the playing field? How do we protect small companies from imports, especially in this environment where imports are coming in at rock bottom, below cost prices? What kind of rules and regulations do we require to support these companies? I think digitization initiatives that the government has done in the India digital stack has made a significant difference. And I'll talk about, I think Mr. Koshi and Mr. Kumar talked about how people are embracing the digital stack, and we have some thoughts around that too. But if you look at just an initiative which was supported by the government, which was TREADS, the volume that goes through that is now more than 150,000 crores. And literally it's gone up by 3 times in the last 3 years. And that's significant, and there were changes in the budget which probably support that a little bit more. The government credit guarantee scheme, which is again in the budget, will again be another way to support this segment. But then what is the role of financial institutions, banks like us, the local banks, the private sector banks? But also, if we look a little bit beyond just the banking system, I think there are a few players that are beginning to come. India is again the flavor of the day. Many people outside the country are interested. And so are multilateral agencies like IFC, ADB, DFC, and all of them have money to put to work in India. They do have programs. We do work with all of them quite closely, and it helps us enhance the capacity that we have. And their agenda is a bit more development, in the country. They look at markets like ours and try and really build the businesses, small businesses, to the next level. Mr. Kumar talked about NBFCs and FinTechs, and I think that's going to be an emerging force. They attract a lot of capital. The way they work is very different. They're very nimble. They do use data better than banks, but the banks have to learn how to use these data also. Then there is the evolving role of insurers. And I think this is about 2 or 3 years old, when our domestic insurance is available to finance receivables. So if companies are selling to high quality or companies, you can go and get insurance. You can then create insurance-backed receivables financing. What are we at HSBC doing in this area? Just a few thoughts. One, we are the largest trade bank in the world. So when customers of ours export overseas, and many of them come and say, I already have a huge export to this counterparty. I don't know how good this counterparty is. Our ability to help you find out more about the credit rating of an international buyer, help you find insurance for third parties, is probably a way forward. And then again, you talk about collateral. If I have got insurance, I probably don't need collateral. And I think the banks have to change their thinking in how they really look at collateral. How do they do cash flow lending? E-commerce was another topic which Mr. Koshi talked about. And we are now bringing the technology which we have internationally, where based on historical performance of a company on an e-commerce platform, we can almost give instantaneous credit. We're not there yet, but we'll get there. And thirdly, we have now built database decisioning systems where if I have your PAN number, I can tell you how much I can lend to you. And this is something we'll roll out later in the year. And this is, I think, a paradigm shift where it's not just us. I think many of the other banks are also embracing these, because the banks have to keep in touch with the times. We are also proud of the India digital stack that's been built up. We have to use it. And therefore, besides just the traditional way of lending where banks feel happy with collateral, we have to start using data as the new collateral for ourselves. And then a bit more. So as companies go into startups, we have a lending program. We're going to double that. We have to take risks, and we have to take smart risks, but clearly a lot more needs to be done by the banking system to help bridge this financing gap into the SME system that we have. But I look forward with positivity towards SMEs. So Peter Drucker, who's an author and a consultant, talked about large organizations cannot be versatile, and they're effective through mass. And they're like elephants and who can't jump. And he talked about small companies being like fleas which can jump multiple times the elephant. And therefore, SMEs, besides being, as Usha Uttab said, sturdy, strong, and consistent, they're also innovative, quick, and nimble. If I look at the establishment of quick commerce and e-commerce in India, it is a game-changing thing. When people come from outside, I show them how to make payments. We take them out and make them buy things. So the democratization of payments happened first. I think ONDC will take it to the next level. So I'm very positive that SMEs are the future of the country, and it can only get better from here, given the government support, and I think increased support from banks like us, but really the public sector banks have to come to the party. I'd like to thank you all for the time that you have taken to spend your evening with us. I know it's very precious. And please enjoy yourself once the event is over. But thank you very much for making the time.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for sharing such valuable insights. Request you to continue being on stage. Before we move on to our next set of awards, I'd like to invite Mr. Girish Luthra, Chairman of Luthra Group, to join Mr. Ajay Sharma on stage. I would also request Shireen to please join us back on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn the attention on companies leading the charge in sustainability. The Excellence in Sustainability Practices Award for Medium Enterprises recognizes businesses that prioritize environmental responsibility, social impact, and innovative solutions. Now, these forward-thinking organizations are shaping a greener future for all. Here are the nominees for this category.
Banyan Sustainable Waste Management, CityGlide Travel Solutions, Desire Energy Solutions.
Our first nominee, Banyan Sustainable Waste Management, is an award-winning plastics recycling company dedicated to helping brands shift towards a more sustainable future with a state-of-the-art, water-positive, zero-emission facility that promotes a circular economy. Our second nominee, CityGlide Travel Solutions, is a leader in mass transportation, prioritizing green initiatives and receiving recognition for city carpooling and bus pooling activities with ISO-certified practices. Our third nominee, Desire Energy Solutions, is a national award-winning water management company that uses innovative technology and renewable energy to make public water infrastructure smart, efficient, and sustainable, focusing on managing over 100,000 villages and 14 cities to reflect their commitment to large-scale impact. Sir, can we have the winner, please?
The Medium Enterprise Excellence in Sustainable Practices is Banyan Sustainable Waste Management Private Limited.
I now invite Ms. Nikhila V, AGM Business Development and Sales, Banyan Sustainable Waste Management, to kindly take the award. It's time now to celebrate the future of sustainable businesses, the Excellence in Sustainability Practices Award for Small Enterprises. And now let's take a look at the nominees for this category.
Agrella Crop Sciences, Health Wheels.
Our first nominee, Agrella Crop Sciences, founded in 2017, is a dedicated advocate for environmental sustainability in agriculture, experiencing consistent growth of 36% year-on-year and reaching a revenue range of 5 to 24 crores in FY 22-23. Our second nominee, Health Wheels, established in 2016, is the mission-driven company behind the Dial 4242 app, maintaining 36% growth year-on-year with a revenue range of again 5 to 24 crore rupees in FY 22-23, providing accessible emergency healthcare through India's largest app-based ambulance network. Now, these finalists exemplify the dynamism and innovation driving India's growth. Sir, the winner is?
So the winner, Small Enterprises, Excellence in Sustainability Practices, Health Wheels Private Limited.
I'd now like to invite the co-founders of Health Wheels, Mr. Jeetu Lalwani and Mr. Atin Verma, to come on stage to receive the award. Continue with the applause, ladies and gentlemen.
A special request coming in from the winner, so I can't say no. Go ahead.
I lost my dad because I could not got ambulances on time, and today we have built the fastest ambulance network. And thanks CNBC and HSBC for acknowledging this. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations. And, as they say, adversity teaches us many things, and you decided to convert a very personal tragedy into something that will benefit the nation and many, many individuals in this country. Thank you very much for joining us here, and congratulations once again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations, very well deserved. Thank you, Mr. Sharma and Mr. Luthra, for doing the honors. Shireen requests you to kindly remain on stage. I would also now request Mr. Ashok Sehgal, the Managing Director of Frontier Technologies, and Mr. Atul Lal, Vice Chairman and Managing Director at Dixon Technologies, to celebrate our next set of winners. Let's move on to our next celebration of the powerhouses of Indian manufacturing with the Manufacturing SME of the Year Award for Medium Enterprises. This award recognizes companies that are transforming the industry with innovation, efficiency, and a commitment to excellence. And the nominees for this category are
HD Fire Protect, Raghav Productivity Enhancers, Rotex Automation.
Our first nominee, HD Fire Protect, is a national leader and exporter providing top-notch firefighting equipment for diverse industries, distinguished by their dedication to international quality standards and customized solutions, earning a 2-star export house designation. Our second nominee, Raghav Productivity Enhancers, is the world's largest manufacturer of ramming mass, dominating the market with fully automated plants and cutting-edge production processes. Our third nominee, Rotex Automation, has been a leader in solenoid valves and angle seat valves for over 4 decades with state-of-the-art facilities, a global reach, and a commitment to quality, holding 19 patents and 11 global certifications. The winner?
The winner of the Medium Enterprise in Manufacturing SME of the Year is Rotex Automation Private Limited.
I now invite Mr. Neerav Shah, Managing Director, Rotex Automation, to kindly come on stage and receive the award.
Why don't you stand in the middle? The middle would be good. Congratulations.
It's time now to honor the drivers of Indian industry, our innovative small manufacturing enterprises. Let's have a look at the nominees under the category Manufacturing SME of the Year Award for Small Enterprises.
Avisa Electronics, Rungta Green Tech, Upstander Technologies.
Our first nominee, Avisa Electronics, offers a one-stop solution for electronic product assembly, providing critical components for sectors like aerospace, medical, automotive, and telecommunications with a strong commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. Our second nominee, Rungta Green Tech, is Eastern India's largest PET bottle recycling facility, transforming used PET bottles into valuable resources for packaging, textiles, and agriculture, championing sustainability and efficient manufacturing practices. Our third nominee, Upstander Technologies, brings innovation to healthcare access by manufacturing state-of-the-art medical devices, healthcare software solutions, and a telemedicine platform focusing on portable, cost-effective devices and remote monitoring solutions for underserved regions. Sir, the winner is?
So the winner of Small Enterprises Manufacturing SME of the Year category is Upstander Technologies Private Limited.
I'd like to invite Mr. Dhaval Mehta, Founding Director, Upstander Technologies, to receive his award. Many congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Sehgal and Mr. Lal, for doing the honors. I'd like to request Mr. Chandrakant Salunke, Founder and President at SME Chamber of India, and Mr. Raghav Chandra, Ex-Secretary, Government of India, and author and founder of Consult, to present the next set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our presenters here. Moving to our next category, the world of retail and e-commerce is booming and innovation is at its peak. Tonight, we're thrilled to recognize the phenomenal achievements of those finalists in the medium enterprise segment of the retail and e-commerce SME of the Year category. Can you have the nominations, please?
ABK Imports, Icon Retail, Sa Vishnu Bakers.
Our first nominee, ABK Imports, has established itself as a distinguished player in the pet care industry since 2010, offering a comprehensive range of premium pet products and accessories nationwide with proprietary brands and global sourcing partnerships. Our second nominee, Icon Retail, has been a champion of sustainable fashion with its brand Latin Quarters. They prioritize organic materials, recycled products, and upcycled creations, fostering a connection between fashion and environmental responsibility. Our third nominee is Sa Vishnu Bakers, who have implemented innovative solutions in the biscuit manufacturing industry, including automation in product processes. They are focused on optimizing processes and enhancing customer experience. The winner, sir.
Good evening, friends. We are here to celebrate the remarkable achievements and outstanding contribution for the emerging corporates, the SMEs of India. I welcome the Icon Retail Private Limited as a winner.
I now invite Mr. Rahul Bhalla, the CEO of Icon Retail, to come on stage to receive the award. Many congratulations. Moving ahead, let's unveil the finalists in the small enterprise segment of the retail and e-commerce SME of the year categories. Nominees for this category are
McMurray Selfie Design, New Jaisa Technologies.
Our first nominee, McMurray Selfie Design, is a powerhouse of creative expression, bringing custom designs to life across products from electronics accessories to apparel. They boast state-of-the-art in-house printing capabilities for exceptional customization and have partnerships with major brands like Disney and Warner Brothers. Our second nominee, New Jaisa Technologies, is a pioneering D2C brand in the refurbished electronics market, offering premium quality check refurbished laptops and desktops to individuals, businesses and educational institutions. Sustainability is a core value for New Jaisa, with a technology-driven approach to their reverse supply chain. The winner is?
And the winner is New Jaisa Technologies Limited.
I now invite Mr. Vishesh Handa, CEO New Jaisa Technologies, to come on stage and receive the award. Many congratulations, team. Thank you, Mr. Chandrakant Salunke and Mr. Raghav Chandra.
I'm going to request both of you to just stay up on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have so many individuals here, so many special individuals. The two of them were on the jury as well, and I can't let them go. And I am going to throw this open to each one of you as well before Mr. Gadkari arrives here for the closing felicitation and to honor the last four awardees. But Mr. Chandra, as the former chairman of NHAI, I want to start by asking you, given the nature of India's MSME sector, given the potential for growth, given where we find ourselves today with the aspirations of becoming a Viksit Bharat by 2047, etc., if you were to prioritize the next steps now to encourage this sector, to encourage scale particularly in this sector, what would that prescription be?
I think government has to encourage them even more to innovate with every possible sort of expediency, removing the regulatory or lowering the regulatory controls, just allowing them to get the wind in their sails and to fly. And that is, I think, what is very necessary.
How much regulatory friction is the cause for the pain that we're seeing? Mr. Rajneesh Kumar spoke of that as well, saying that we perhaps need a new playbook to deal with MSMEs, to also deal with fintechs, for instance. What do you believe is the way forward when we talk about removing regulatory friction while ensuring safeguards are in place?
I think we need to create mechanisms where SMEs and small startups can every country has regulatory controls, because physically today, with the great infrastructure that we've provided, the great physical infrastructure, we're zipping. But when it comes to the softer systems that are necessary, whether it is in the urban systems for traffic, for parking, for city management, or in the regulatory controls across the spectrum of regulatory bodies, we need to simplify things. We need to handhold them to get it sorted out so that they're able to progress faster.
You share with us an anecdote from your time as the former chairman of NHAI, and what were some of the issues that you came up against, and if you could have a do-over, what would you do?
And I'd certainly like to ensure that the connect between the city infrastructure and the national highway infrastructure, that is made better, because there's a lot of smoothening that is required. A lot has been done, but plenty needs to be done in terms of the connectivity, because you can zip on a national highway or an expressway at the speed of 120, but when you come to the city, you find a complete bottleneck, you find a complete choking up. So the urban infrastructure has to be commensurate with the national highway infrastructure. And we have sorted out the issue of wayside amenities, toilets, restaurants. Some of our expressways have enormous such wayside amenities, which we started in my time. But I think that needs to be streamlined further, made smoother, and safety has to be a very big issue on our highways. We still have a lot of fatalities. A lot is being done, but lots needs to be done more. And I think that's a regulatory challenge, because the entire gamut of infrastructure connected with our highways needs a greater, a more detailed microscopic study and analysis and redoing. The larger, the bigger things have been done. Now the micro, the smaller things need to be done now.
We'll get an indication of what the government has in mind when it comes to addressing some of those micro issues that you spoke of from Mr. Gadkari, who should be here with us shortly. But Mr. Salunke, you've spent your life, working life, focusing on the needs and the aspirations of the Indian MSME. From where things stand today and from your vantage point, what do you believe the big challenge is? What do you believe the big opportunity is?
Indian SMEs are playing very important role. They are putting efforts for the contributing for the nation building, particularly large employment, contribution for the industrial output. But as Mr. Raghav said, the roads are there, but these are not freeways. These are the expressways. Our entrepreneurs are working like, and struggling like anything. And ultimately, the question goes to bankers only. But there are plenty of things, plenty of, stakeholders. They are not putting efforts, not giving attention on the empowerment of MSME sector. The MSME entrepreneurs working like that, the soldiers at the border without food. Am I right, friends? Soldiers at the border without food. So MSME sector can play a very important role. As Mr. Singh said, I know, the DPIT secretary, we want to focus not only the policy. Budget is a 1%, but there are 99% things to be done properly. Government should take advice from Mr. Rajesh Kumar, how the banking sector can be changed and how the banking sector can be worked for the MSME sector. That is the most important.
You said often it always only ends up at the bankers' table, that they need to address the problems of the Indian MSME. But which are the other stakeholders that you believe need to be engaged now in this dialogue and conversation? And what do you believe needs to be addressed with a sense of urgency? You talked about soldiers being on the border without food, so you're painting a war-like scenario. Who should be in the command center? Who should be in the control center at this point in time?
See, first of all, any entrepreneur starting business with a rental house, rental premises, rental industrial premises, land cost is very high. Skilled manpower is going directly to large corporate. Rather, this is an institution. MSME is an institution to creating the unskilled to skilled, and they goes to large corporate. Third, market. And fourth is the most important level playing field. The licenses, the permissions, the supply chain management, getting funding on time, even though 45 days rule, how many corporates are paying on time? That is the most important. Another very interesting point, 90 days is a struggling point, the MSMEs. And when they become NPA, the business is gone. The stamp is there for NPA defaulters. That is the most important. We have to focus on, there are plenty of stakeholders. We have to bring them together and understand the potentiality of MSME sector. Honorable Prime Minister said, we have to focus on the Vikasit Bharat, but when we will empower MSMEs, then Vikasit Bharat can be marched.
You spoke about some of the measures taken and some of the measures needed. The budget has announced certain measures, including, expansion as far as the Mudra loan scheme is concerned, some measures on TREDS, and of course, as I spoke, the credit guarantee scheme, etc. And these were the demands that had come in from the MSME sector. How meaningful are they? How much will they move the needle?
My demand to the government, especially the Honorable Finance Minister, that they can provide the loan at the differential rate of interest scheme. Mr. Rajesh Kumar knows that at the rate of 4% up to 15 crore, then only MSME sector can transform the businesses and economic growth of India.
Well, you've got a huge round of applause. I'm going to request you to take your seats, but let me open up this conversation since we are talking about the demands coming in from the MSME sector. But we also want to understand from you and hear your stories on what it's like to operate within the environment and what you believe is the headroom for growth. Let me bring in our jury member, Mr. Atul Lal of Dixon, into the conversation as well. And Mr. Lal, I want to understand from you. We're talking about scaling up, and that seems to be the big challenge, and that seems to be the big hurdle that many companies in this room are faced with and perhaps will face. In your experience, take us through what you've been able to do in order for you to be able to achieve scale. What was some of the steps that you took? What was it that you changed in terms of culture? What was it that you changed in the back end as well as the front end to ensure that you achieved it?
You see, we in Dixon started off in a very, very small way. 32 years back, it was again, as Mr. Solanke was saying, a rented premises, just 3 of us with just 30 lakhs of capital. And just assembling televisions, 3,000-4,000 televisions a month. On the softer side, and I'll start with the softer side first, my humble advice to the SMEs here is that first is people and approach. You need to bring people along with you and have faith and conviction in them and have the faith that they're more intelligent than you. And once वो जो कारवा बनता है, that takes you to a different level. And that's the first thing. The second, what Solanke Saab was saying, that any industry in its stages of infancy, it needs hand-holding from the government and from government institutions. And as Mr. Rajneesh Kumar was saying, that particularly for the SMEs, the last mile is FinTech. I think we have gone overboard in our country in over-regulation. We have to walk into this domain, in this space, and that all the entrepreneurs, and that's what me and Mr. Luthra were just discussing, the passion levels are of a different order.
The josh is high.
Absolutely. So let the bankers and the regulators not approach and look at things that the people who are coming in, they're fraudulent. They're coming in with their passion, with their dream, which needs to be supported. And everywhere there are bound to be some accidents. And this is what we were discussing. If you see the NPA records, I hope what I'm saying is right. I think SMEs would be much lower than the large accounts. The third is think big. You see, we are talking about bank financing. But let me tell you, if you learn this domain well, today, access to equity is not that much of a problem. What I find, because I find even in my electronics industry, there's a gap in understanding. There's a gap in accessing. There are VCs, there are private equities, there are family offices who will write the checks. So I think that bridging also needs to be done. I don't know who's going to do that. Possibly the industry association, something like that, or possibly Mr. Solanke's office. People are ready to cut the checks. So these are some of the thoughts which are coming to my mind right now. Thank you. Thanks.
Those are great thoughts, and I'll get to Mr. Luthra as well as Mr. Sehgal to come in on that. But let me ask you, Mr. Lal, since we're going with the theme of motivation, inspiration, courtesy, Ms. Usha Utub, let me ask you, what has motivated and inspired you to keep going?
You see, in my electronics industry, abhi to zindagi shuru hui hai. So, you see, we just started. Although I'm old, but we've just started. So what more can I say? So there's so much to do, and possibly on a very, very optimistic note, and I'm on an optimistic note. You see, the Indian electronics industry has grown from $25 billion to $100 billion in the last 5 years. we are targeting that by 26, 27, it's going to be $300 billion. So do you think I'm a greedy man? Do you think I'm going to miss that opportunity? No way.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck with that opportunity and making good on that opportunity. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with chasing growth while you do it with profitability in mind as well. But Mr. Luthra, let me come to you now, sir. Also, thank you very much again for being part of the jury. But, just to take forward what we heard from other jury members as well, there is enough Josh, as Mr. Lal said. There's plenty of aspiration. There's plenty of ambition. What do you believe needs course correction today?
Course correction today. For MSME, it is a thought process, is the course correction. They look at technology, they look at their work, but changing attitude becomes a challenge. That is what I have understood in our journey as well. Our own attitude, aptitude, and then changing it within the team, within the family. Punjabi aadmi dhakka kisne mara abhi tak dhoond raha hu. But primarily, I have never worked in life because I've done only what I love. I was a textile man, then I was a polluter. So we thought, why not the other way around? Why can't we do cleaning up? And because that's a newer age business and that's too traditional, the textile one. So that's how we jumped into it, and then it's history. Now all the numbers are different. So now we are the largest recyclers of hazardous and toxic waste in the country. So we produce fuel out of toxic waste. That is a unique area which we work in.
So what was the hardest part about doing this pivot?
The hardest part, I would rather say, is too much of compliance driven. So if the state is not compliant, we will not get business. Even if we have knowledge, we have everything. So the government support on these projects, which are public in nature for environment and sustainability, it has to have compliance driven, because in India, illegal waste dumping is a very normal way of life.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a normal way of life at all. And that is something that we need to acknowledge, and it's something we need to take note of. What would be your message to this audience? What would be your message to the nominees, to the winners here?
My first message to the nominees, not only winners, you all have done great. At least whatever we interviewed, we found it difficult to decide on who is the right candidate, number one. Number two, who have not won doesn't mean that they have not done a great job. It is only selecting the best out of better. So you're all equally good. Keep up your spirit. आप लोगों ने काम अच्छा किया और करते रहिएगा. Becoming from small to medium, medium to large, or micro to small, is a journey of first changing your attitude. And सबसे बड़ा fear हम लोगों का क्या होता है कि we have never done work through people. We have only worked ourselves. So that fear has to be overcome by the first set of so-called professionals who are family professionals. Maybe some retired professional in your family who can help you be a mentor. Because by the time we make business processes which are foolproof, you always have that fear. That fear can be overcome very easily. But it takes 2 to 4 years. Number two, change yourself. मतलब हम सब बॉस से एक प्रोफेशनल बनने की जो कोशिश करते हैं, that's a big challenge in family business, from growing from level X to level Y.
Thank you very much for those very practical pieces of advice that you've shared with us from your own journey and your own story. Thank you so much for being part of the SME Awards jury, sir. To you as well, what would you say as a message to the audience here and to those who are watching us online and on TV? And more importantly, share with us your own story, your own journey, and the lessons learned.
I think I would begin what Mr. Luthra mentioned, that he's enjoying what he's doing. I think it was Robert Townsend who said about 30, 40 years ago, he said, if you're not in business for fun or profit, what are you doing there anyway? Okay. Now, I think I have concentrated in my career more on the fun part than the profit part, but it's been a good journey, and I think at the end of it, if you're happy, I think that is what is most important. I think another side of it is that I did work for multinational and so on and so forth, And the reason I ventured out on my own was that there were certain unethical practices going on which I was not comfortable with. And so I decided that the only way out was to step out rather than remain in a conflict situation. I think that that is something which I grew up with, and I hope I have followed it along even after that. And one of the things that has been very enjoyable in all this is that as an engineer, you love problem solving. Now, you may solve a problem of why a machine is not working. Now, as co-chair of CI MSME, I get an opportunity to interact with a lot of the government officials and the practices and the policies they're doing, and it is not very different. There are problems, something is not working. Why is it not working? What is the way to make it work? Yeah. Okay, so in a way, the two things converge, and I think that is what needs to be followed up, and I think that has been what is my enjoyment of doing what I'm doing so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And as you rightly said, the softest cushion is your conscience, and that is a very sage advice that you've left with us. We are just awaiting Minister Gadkari. He should be here with us in a couple of moments from now. There was a cabinet meeting, and cabinet meetings you cannot time, so we're just awaiting his arrival, which we expect will be in a couple of minutes away. Let me get some of the winners now, and I have one right here, sitting right next to us. Congratulations. Tell me, what was it that you started this company with? What was the vision? And what is the future looking like for you now? What do you target?
Sure. You see, the founders of our company, they were the devotees of Satya Sai Baba. So he told them, look, we are doing enough and more for the rural India in terms of educational care, agro care, and so on and so forth. You create jobs for them. That was the tagline. So we said, okay, there are a lot of people from the villages coming to cities to work. So why bring villages to jobs? Take the jobs to villages, right? And today, being the, Kargil Divas, Vijay Divas, I remember Captain Manoj Pandey who said, some goals are so worthy that it's glorious even to fail. And that's a mission we are in. We are actually, and this is Captain Manoj Pandey at the age of 24, first 11 Gurkha Rifles. Imagine the mindset which he has. That's what drives me. We are creating employment in tier 4, tier 5 towns, which is not easy. We are stopping the migration from these towns to big cities. We are adding to the family earnings, and we are empowering the women. This is the vision which we carry, and in doing so, we are also solving certain local problems. For example, we were told that, look, one of the centers, we have 12 centers currently, pan-India, and we have 3,000 plus people whom we employ currently. So we were told in one of the areas that, look, my area is getting infested with Naxals. Can you create employment so that these people can be grounded? We opened a center in a place called as Tirthahalli near Shimoga, and today we have 240 people working out of it. We solve a problem. We are next to next month, we are opening centers in Northeast where we will be preventing migration from Northeast to bigger cities. So that's what drives me, Shirin, and keeps us awake.
Well, thank you very much for doing what you are doing, and thank you very much as well for acknowledging the day that we are marking today, which is Vijay Divas, and of course, our tribute to the men and women in the armed forces. My father was a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, so it's particularly close to my heart as well. A special tribute is coming up to honor the men and women in our armed forces for the contribution that they make. Yes, please go ahead.
I was part of Kargil operations in 15 Corps, headquarter 15 Corps, so I've lived that war as such. Today is I'm telling you, only Indian Army could do it. When the enemy is entrenched, only Indian Army can do it in the entire world. We have seen those people, men and boys, and hats off to them. And really our hearts go to them and the sacrifices they made. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And equally impressive is the contribution that India's MSMEs make, often perhaps underappreciated and not recognized. And that is the attempt that we are hoping to correct here with the SME Awards, to recognize the contributions being made by India's entrepreneurs who are doing it despite all the odds, who are doing it, for the benefit of being able to achieve their dreams and their aspirations. I see more winners here, so let me quickly hop across to you and get a quick word in. What was the dream that you started with?
I started a dream for making India look as a technologically advanced country in the eyes of the world. Because when I visited in my induction time to a world seminar, and most of the time, whenever there is an Indian company, they say, oh, you have a cost advantage, and never been appreciated for the technological advantage we may have. And this is what I decided that I will be going, and this is what inspired my team is completely working in developing and filing patents. Every year we file five patents minimum, in creating a tremendous value at our customer end and at global end. Because I feel just like a Kargil war, there are soldiers. Each of the entrepreneurs are the economical soldiers. We are the soldiers of our economy, and it is the entrepreneurs which are funding the country, right, in a direct or indirect way. And this is what we should be proud of, and we should. I think this is where you are doing a quite good job. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and congratulations once again. And you're right in pointing out that, the contribution of Indian entrepreneurs who are taking the risks to create wealth, create value, create jobs, I think is a significant one. Any other winners here that we can spot? We'd love to hear your stories. I will hop across to you as we await Minister Gadkari. Yes, I will come to you as well, so go ahead. Let me start by asking you, what was the dream and how much of it have you achieved so far?
Okay. Thank you, first of all. The journey has started. We are in the, everyone is talking about jobs, employment. This is what Jeevitam does. We help the vulnerable segments in their finding livelihood and in their social and financial inclusion. In our country, 80 crore people are getting free ration. That's something is a segment which we are targeting to so that they come out and live the life which they deserve. That is the, mission which we are carrying and moving forward.
Very best of luck with that mission, and congratulations once again. Let me ask you, what was the dream that you had, and how much of it have you been able to achieve?
Hi, thank you. So, first of all, I hail from Haryana. So I've seen a lot of farmers in my life, and me and my partner, we have worked for Japanese, Germans, and Americans, MNCs throughout our life. So we thought that we should do something for our own country, and that's why we
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our guest of honor, Mr. Nitin Gadkari ji. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, sir. I'm just going to continue with your story very briefly before we head to the minister.
So, first of all, namaskar, Gadkari sir ko. So, being from Haryana and being from a family which was earlier a farmer, so me and my partner, we worked throughout our life for Americans, for Germans and Japanese, and we thought that we need to do something for India. And we started this company in India, and we first developed drones for defense. Then we later started developing drones for agriculture. So when we started in this country, there was complete ban on the drones. So we are pioneer of agriculture drones in India. So we worked with the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Agriculture. We formed the rules with their help. And now today we are working on the vision of Honorable Prime Minister. We are doubling the income of farmer. And you won't believe, in many states, we have not doubled, we have made it 10 times, 12 times. So one single farmer in MP, if you see him, he's using my drone, he is earning 35 to 40 lakh rupees per year. Okay. So similarly, if you see in Bihar, we made a DAS, drone as a service partner. His last year billing was 3.5 crores. So that's the kind of change we are bringing.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations for making an impact. Appreciate you joining us here. And once again, thank you very much, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, for joining us here this evening. I know it's been a busy evening, sir, with the cabinet meeting just concluding, but we appreciate you joining us here this evening. May I request you to please join us on stage, sir, and address the audience.
Mr. Hitendra Dave, CEO HSBC by India, T. Koshai, MD ONDC, Rajneesh Kumar, former chairperson SBI, Sriran Bhan, managing editor CNBC. First of all, I am giving my special wishes to winners who are really doing excellent job in the field of MSME. MSME is the growth engine for Indian economy. Because I was 2 years, I was minister in charge for MSME. And today, the knowledge is the power. And the small people with the startup and MSME, they have a lot of new inventions, new technology. And my feeling is, the innovation, entrepreneurship, science, technology, research, skill and successful practices, we name it as knowledge, and conversion of knowledge into wealth is the future. Now in our budget already for 100 crore loan, at that time when I was minister, we have making a special provision for that we have a trust. And government is giving money from the budget to the trust, by which without bank guarantee, without collateral guarantee or personal guarantee, now bank can finance to MSME. And if anywhere there is a problem, government is ready, and government will pay the money, whatever that exactly the liability with the bank. So my feeling is, this is very important. The most important thing which I feel that today, just I was listening about the drones. Yes. It's so, actually, I'm a farmer, and I'm doing 3 sugar factories. Now you just understand how much this technology is important. Now, in sugar cane, in our area, even in all area everywhere, we need 4 bags of urea and 4 bags of mishra khat, that is mixtures, NPK. Now the problem is that by development of nano urea and nano mixed fertilizer, now we actually use the fertilizer, we just throw the fertilizer to the plant. As far as the research, 75% is wastage and 25% is going to the plant. Now, because of this invention, agriculture drone, now 25% is wastage and 75% is going to the plant. So, in place of 1 acre of sugarcane, 8 bags, you can use only 4 bags. And my wife get the award this year. We have 3,000 acre of fertilizer. We use the nano fertilizer, and the production was increased. So now everywhere organic carbon, it is very important, precious, just like oxygen to the human being, the organic carbon to the plant. Now the technology is developed by drone, we can spray organic carbon. I have got a special project that I am purchasing 2 trucks of hairs from Tirupati every month, and I am making amino acid from that, and that amino acid is giving to the farmer. So exactly what I am to tell you, that MSME is doing excellent jobs. They have really have a lot of new research, new technology, new innovations, And what exactly I want to suggest them, that this is the appropriate time for India, that how we can reduce our import and how we can increase our export. Now in the case of fertilizer, the government is spending 2 lakh crores every year for giving subsidy to maintaining the rate of fertilizer. Today also in the cabinet we passed one resolution for that. So this is exactly the time, by the new technology, just like nano fertilizer, different type of nano pesticides, insecticides, so by which we can reduce the expenditure cost and increase the profitability. What my feeling is, MSME is doing really excellent job, and the export of MSME is very excellent. When I was an MSME minister in Mumbai, I gave an award to one lady. She has got export of 1,000 crore of these shoes and ladies' chappals. And she's doing an excellent job in the world. So this type of lot of new people are there. And one thing I'm really happy about it, that you select only 4 persons. So only the other request is, if it is possible for you in your program, if we can show the film of their complete project, where the majority of the people can inspire and motivate to do something for that and on that line, and which can be a great thing for it. And one thing which I will request you, the MSME is divided into different parts. Now the problem is that in our GDP contribution, the 52 to 54% is from service sector, and 22 to 24% from the manufacturing sector, and only 14% from the agriculture sector. Today I am coming with the Innova car, I just saw him. The car is 100% on bioethanol, is the world's first car on a flex engine, and as compared with average with the petrol, it comes to 25 rupees per liter. So everywhere in agriculture also there is a lot of invention. First time, in the old time we are calling farmers as Annadata. Now we are calling Urja Data. Now they are bitumen data. We are making this bio CNG from Parali, rice straw, and we are also making bioethanol in Panipat. We have a project 1 lakh liter ethanol, 150 ton bio bitumen. We have import of 30-40 lakh ton of import of bitumen. These farmers from Parali and biomass, they can make bitumen, and we can reduce our import for the bitumen. And the third important thing is, now we are making bio-aviation fuel from the Parali, rice straw. So this type of new technology, people are doing really good job. If you reserve one prize for agro MSME in the rural, tribal and forest area, who are contribution, the most important thing is waste to wealth. And there are a lot of things, they are making crude petrol from waste plastic. So somewhere if we can, for the environment point of view, and circulation economy is also there. So in agriculture and rural and tribal area, if you can reserve one prize for them, it will be really a great inspiration for the particular people belongs to agriculture, rural and tribal India. I am giving my best wishes to all the winners. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. We truly appreciate all the recommendations that you've given us, all the suggestions that you've given us, and we will ensure that we incorporate those into the next edition of the CNBC-TV18 SME Awards. Once again, we appreciate you joining us here today to honor some of the winners and recognize their achievements. May I request Shruti to take forward the culmination of the SME Awards. And your valuable insights. Request you both to kindly remain on stage. And now we move on to our last set of felicitations at SME Champion Awards. Our next category is Services SME of the Year for Medium Enterprises. Now this award recognizes SME service providers that are customer focused and innovative in delivering quality services, setting industry benchmarks. These enterprises not only meet but exceed customer expectations through their dedication and commitment to quality. The nominees for this category are
E-Mudra, Rural Shores Business Services, Shah Group of Companies, GADFEM India, FIA Technology Services.
Now, these companies are established players with impressive growth trajectories. Our first nominee, eMudra, is a leading digital identity and transaction management company. Founded in 2008, they have grown their revenue from 101 crore to 250 crore rupees last year with a 36% annual growth rate and issued over 85 million digital signatures. Our second nominee, Rural Shores Business Services, established in 2008, has maintained a 26 to 35% growth rate year on year by skilling and employing rural youth in the ITES sector, fostering social and economic development in these communities. Our third nominee, Shah Group, founded in 2000, is a top supplier of steel products, growing their revenue from 101 crore to 250 crore rupees last year with a 36% annual growth rate, focusing on exceptional customer service and timely deliveries. Our fourth nominee is CADFM India, founded in 2007, specializes in engineering simulation solutions, offering digital engineering and implementing advanced technology to optimize daily transactions and improve business quality. Our fifth nominee, Fiat Technology Services, ensures financial access even in remote areas with a vast network spanning 748 districts and 55,000 inclusion centers. Sir, can we have the winner, please?
Medium Enterprises Services SME of the Year, Mudra Limited.
I now invite Mr. Bikash Singh, Vice President eMudra, to come on stage to receive the award. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's move to the Services SME of the Year for small enterprises. These are the future game changers brimming with potential. The nominees for the Service SME of the Year award for small enterprises are
AKS Information Technology, Asian Consulting Engineers, Meraki Ventures.
Our first nominee, AKS Information Technology Services, is a leading cybersecurity company with a 36% growth rate and revenue of 5 to 24 crore rupees, developing proprietary technologies and products. Our second nominee, Asian Consulting Engineers, provides consulting services in the water and environmental sectors with a 36% growth rate and revenue of 5 to 24 crore rupees, completing over 350 projects in 21 countries. Meraki Ventures, our third nominee in this category, is an artificial intelligence-based workforce management platform with a 36% growth rate, expanding their revenue to 101 to 200 crore rupees last year. They offer workforce as a service and upskill young talent through apprenticeship programs. Sir, if you could kindly announce the winner.
The winner is Meraki Ventures Private Limited.
I now invite Mr. Amit Duggal, COO of Meraki Ventures, to come on stage to receive his award. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going. Now we come to a very special award, Entrepreneur of the Year for Medium and Small Enterprises. This prestigious honor recognizes outstanding leadership, innovation and growth within an enterprise. After careful consideration and rigorous evaluation of all the nominations received, the recipients have been selected for exceptional contributions and achievements. First, let's unveil the recipient of the Entrepreneur of the Year for Medium Enterprises. And the winner is Raghav Kabra from Raghav Productivity Enhancers. Unfortunately, Mr. Raghav, he couldn't join us, but we also have with us, I'd like to call Mr. Sanjay Kabra, who is the chairman of Raghav Productivity Enhancers, to receive the award on his behalf. Last but not the least, we have the Entrepreneur of the Year for Small Enterprises, and the winner is, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Dhaval Mehta, the Founding Director of Upstandard Technologies. Many congratulations. Request you to kindly come on stage. Thank you, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, for taking the time to be with us this evening and for your invaluable presence. Sir, before we move forward, I would request the winners, all the winners, to kindly come on stage for a photo op with Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. Request all the winners to kindly come up on stage for a quick photo op. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for all our winners here tonight. Thank you so much, winners. Request all the winners to kindly step down. There's a very special act. So many thanks for doing the honors. If you could all step down. We have a very special act coming up. And before we wrap up this evening, let's pay homage to the brave hearts on this Kargil Vijay Divas. There is a special tribute for the women and men in uniform by our beloved Didi. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause once again for Usha Utupji.
Hello, Gadkari ji. Honorable, मुझे पता नहीं, actually I had prepared to say all the right words, but इतने सारे, it's just been fantastic. We've been waiting for you, and yes, you can see from my face and my words how much it means to me that you are here. We know the protocol that normally after the minister speaks, then he doesn't, I mean, he goes away. But today you have stayed. Thank you so much for that. Aaj, such a very, very special day, Shireen. Yes, we're all here to pay a tribute to our wonderful, wonderful warriors of Kargil and how we always respect them. ऐसा कभी-कभी लगता है कि we have so many problems in our life. पता नहीं, I want to say from deep within, ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है. और this one is dedicated to all our services. I love the way when you spoke to the gentleman. Where are you? I don't know. Yes, I was so touched really, because I belong from an army family myself and a police family together. And of course, we all belong to India. जो कुछ भी हो जाए हम ये कहेंगे, हम एक थे एक हैं, एक हमेशा रहेंगे भारतीय, Indian, Hindustani. So I really thank God for the sari and thank God for being Indian. लोग हमेशा पूछते हैं कि so which place in India do you really belong? Are you Tamil? Nana Tamil peshiya. Or are you from Bengal? Ki bhalo kore Bangla bolte pari. Or are you from Kerala? Nalla paatella nariyale. But ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, born and brought up in Bombay, Maharashtra, and married into Kerala, living now in India, ladies and gentlemen, in Bengal. I'd like to say that whatever happens, the first thing I have to say is, thank God I was born Indian. I wouldn't have it any other way. So give me the Ashirvadam to carry on. और आप बैठे हुए यहाँ पे, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, okay. It's been an absolutely brilliant evening.
ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। आती है आंधी